So let's see how generative AI is helpful in the test monitoring and test control activities. So if we talk about the test monitoring and test control activities with the generative AI, how the monitoring and control is really easy or expedited. So test monitoring usually requires large volumes of data, which is often unstructured. So whenever you are doing the test monitoring, usually you'll have the test execution data, how the schedule looks like, whether you are on track or not. So there is a lot of data for which analysis needs to happen. If you are doing this analysis manually, extracting the data, analyzing it, it takes a lot of effort and time. With generative AI, you can easily plug in. So for example, this particular data will be there in the test management tool anyways. So manual analysis will be time consuming, and that's what used to happen previously when you didn't have the generative AI or the tools that are automatically doing this analysis. Gen AI will be able to retrieve, analyze and synthesize the data, and generative AI can automate these monitoring tasks and provide actionable insights for the test control as well. As and when you have the more data, for example, execution is happening, automatically generative AI will be able to see the progress, see the schedule, and suggest you the insight or actionable insight for the control activities. Now, test monitoring and metric analysis. Gen AI automates test monitoring activities. It can analyze the trends and patterns in the test data. It can predict the potential risk before they occur and alert teams to deviations from the plan. When we say test data here, it is more of the test data, any test execution, any schedule, plan. That's what we are referring when we say test data here, that is available in the test management tool. For example, Gen AI can detect regression test failures increasing in the login module. So if, say for example, there are a lot of regression test failures in the login module, Gen AI can predict the risk of release delay and can alert the team to investigate authentication changes. So automatically all this can happen if you plug in the generative AI capabilities into your test management tool or provide the test management tool data to generative AI. Now, how Gen AI can help with the test control? Now, once you have the test data or the test execution or test progress data that is fed into the generative AI, it can automatically scan and provide you with any of the risks and control measures. So Gen AI can provide insights for reprioritizing tests, if any, adjusting the schedule. Say for example, as per the current schedule, you are not halfway through and there are many test cases still remaining. So Gen AI can suggest either adjusting the schedule, adding more resources to finish the testing within time. Automatically all this can happen with generative AI, and it can provide you the suggestions or alerts automatically. It can suggest you about the reallocation of the resources. So these are some of the control measures how Gen AI can help. Gen AI ensures testing remains flexible and focused on the high priority areas. For example, Gen AI can suggest moving payment tests earlier in the cycle due to recent code changes. For example, you have the payment tests which you have scheduled later, but there are some code changes during the duration of the execution. So Gen AI can automatically detect that the code changes, or if you have fed in those changes in the Gen AI, and automatically it can then suggest that move the payment test cases or redo the payment test cases, re-execute the payment test cases for this change. So low UI risk tests are rescheduled for later phases. So that prioritization, reprioritization, all of that is possible using Gen AI, as far as it has the access to the test management, test progress data and your code base. Either you provide it manually or you integrate the test management tool and code repository with the Gen AI model or LLM. Now, test completion insights and continuous learning, how Gen AI is helpful. Gen AI generates completion reports. It highlights successes and lessons learned as well. It refines strategies for future test process. All of that is possible because you have fed in the test execution, test progress data, defect data to Gen AI, and automatically it can analyze and suggest you all of the completion insights and highlights the success, what areas need to be improved. For example, if report shows login tests consistently pass but checkout tests fail often, Gen AI can then suggest that in the lesson learned, strengthen test coverage in the payment workflow. Okay, so if say you have checkout test failed couple of times, Gen AI can easily analyze and provide you the actionable insight or completion insights. Then enhance test metrics, visualization and reporting. Gen AI can create dynamic dashboards with the data that it gets from the test management tool, your code base. It can create dynamic dashboards and provide summaries in the natural language, which is very helpful for the stakeholders. So imagine you going ahead and trying to analyze what changes were done in the code base on what date. It's not possible manually. And that's where the tools become really helpful. Now with Gen AI coming in picture, it is even more helpful or even more powerful to analyze the existing test progress data, the test management data, or the code base, and it can then provide you the summary with in plain English form that is easily understandable by the stakeholders or anyone in the team. So Gen AI ensures quick access to relevant metrics and supports fast decision making. It can create a dashboard, for example, which shows what is the pass rate trend, what is the defect density trend, risk alert, summary. Checkout module has highest defect rate, prioritize regression test cases here. So this all based on data that is available to it. You can easily in plain English ask generative AI model, large language model, to create a metrics visualization for reporting and provide a summary. Will automatically analyze and provide you a summary which is easy to understand and action for anyone in the team. So that's all about this tutorial. In the next one, I'll cover another ISTQB generative AI testing certification topic. Thank you. See you in the next tutorial.